Let me tell you a story, one that'll have you shaking your head, maybe even laughing, but I promise somewhere in there you'll see a bit of justice get served. You ever hear about the time an HOA president built herself a little criminal empire on someone else's land, then called the cops on the actual owner? Yeah, this is that story, and I swear it gets crazier every 5 minutes. So picture this: blue and red lights bouncing off the lake, sirens tearing through the peace, and my dog Harper, smartest border collie you'll ever meet, crouched low tail between his legs, already sensing what the rest of us were too slow to catch. I'm standing by our campfire roasting marshmallows with my daughter Emma, 12, going on 40, and suddenly there's a deputy stepping out of his car, voice all official. "Sir, step away from the fire and put your hands where I can see them." My marshmallow stick's still in my hand. Emma's s'more halfway to her mouth, eyes wide with that kind of fear you never want to see in your kid. "Dad, are we really in trouble?" she whispers. "That one hurts." Because how do you explain to your kid that camping on your own land that's been in your family since Reagan was president could end with you in cuffs? "Officer, this is my family's ranch. We're just camping," I say, trying to keep my voice steady, even though my heart's racing. 30 years on construction sites taught me stay calm or things get ugly fast. Harper's growl rumbles low, and then out from the trees here comes the villain of our piece, Linda Patterson, HOA president, hair done up, clipboard hugged tight to her chest like it's bulletproof. She struts right up to the deputy. They've been camping on Pine Ridge HOA property for 2 days. We called about trespassers. You ever see someone wield paperwork like a weapon? That was Linda. Her clipboard stuffed with documents, all of them meant to scare you, not explain a thing. Emma, bless her, pulls out her phone, already knows that in moments like this you get it on camera. Linda starts pulling out meeting minutes, lake committee records, photos, maintenance receipts, you name it. She's laying it all out like she's about to win at poker. "We've invested thousands," she says, "and these people are disrupting community activities. But I've got my own paperwork inheritance from Uncle Frank, the original deed tax records, the whole 9 yards. I hand it to the deputy, and now we wait, hearts thumping, Harper panting like he's run a marathon. Finally, the radio crackles, property confirmed. Sapphire Lake and surrounding 15 acres owned by Ian Miller via inheritance. No easements, no shared use." The look on Linda's face, priceless. You could see her confidence drain away, replaced by that look you get when you realize you've just made the dumbest mistake of your life. But she tries to recover. "Frank gave us permission years ago. Community lake access. We've been good neighbors." Her voice is shaky now. "Ma'am," I say as gently as I can, "if you've got written permission for all this, these structures, the events charging fees, let's see it." She can't, because there isn't any. Deputy Johnson gets it. If Mr. Miller owns the property and there's no written authorization, then, well, that's trespassing. The real kicker, Linda called the cops on herself. She came looking for a win and handed over all the evidence to lose everything. You want to know how we got here? Let's back up. 24 hours. Emma and I, finally free for a weekend, decided to camp on our newly inherited land. Emma's so excited she must have told me 10 times, "Dad, I can't believe we own a whole lake." But as we explore, I start noticing things that don't add up. Brand new dock with a Pine Ridge plaque, picnic pavilion, fire rings, walking trails, even a fancy parking lot. 30 grand in improvements easy, all built without a word to our family. Harper's pacing, whining, can't settle down like he knows the land doesn't feel right. We meet Mrs. Rodriguez, our neighbor since forever, and she drops a bomb. Linda and the HOA have done wonderful work with the lake. Frank never minded. And just like that, it clicks. Uncle Frank, getting up there in years, must have let neighbors use the lake. But this was a business. I dig through his papers and find a note: "Linda, feel free to fish with your family on weekends. Keep it simple." That's it. Nothing about building docks, charging fees, or opening a summer camp. So I get online. Turns out Linda's been running a whole operation, charging 50 families $15 a month for lake access, running camps, hosting parties, all on my family's dime. That's $9,000 a year. Do the math over 5 years and you're looking at $45,000 just for access. But the scam goes deeper. She's been siphoning our water to keep their lawns green, filling pools, even selling excess to landscapers. Water bills show nothing because they're stealing it straight from our lake, over $10,000 worth. That night, more than 20 families show up like it's their private resort. Kids run to the dock, adults light up the grills. Emma whispers, "Dad, should we tell them this is our lake?" She's asking for permission to claim what's already hers. Linda comes over, clipboard ready, all business. Community fishing is Tuesday 5 to 8. Are you members? She doesn't even recognize me. I introduce myself, explain the situation, and pull out Frank's note. She barely glances at it. Frank understood. That was just a casual reminder. Bob Wilson, HOA treasurer, jumps in with a stack of documents meeting minutes programming schedules. Impressive but useless. None of it proves they have the right. Neighbors look uncomfortable. Some say, we paid in good faith. Others just want to know what happens next. Linda, though, digs in. You can't revoke 5 years of community privileges, I reply. Privileges don't transfer if I never agreed. Voices start rising. One kid, brave and honest, pipes up. Are they taking our lake away? Emma tugs at my sleeve, eyes full of worry. Dad, are we the bad guys? Linda, seeing she's losing the room, calls 911 again. Tells the dispatcher I'm camping illegally, disrupting community activities. The crowd packs up, evening ruined. She calls an emergency board meeting, determined to fight. The next day I drive into town with Emma and Harper. The county clerk, Mrs. Thompson, sets us straight: 15 acres, no shared use, no easements. Frank's records are spotless. But starting in 2019, the HOA's been filing paperwork like crazy: building permits, insurance, business licenses, all claiming they own the lake. Paper by paper, Linda's been building her house of cards. I talked to Uncle Frank's old friend Joe. He says Frank was just being neighborly, too polite to say no, too tired to fight, never signed anything away. At the courthouse, public records show Linda's been raking in $149,000 over 5 years, with $79,000 net profit, none of it hers. I follow Harper to the fence line and discover the water theft pumps, buried pipes, all feeding the subdivision. She's been running a commercial operation, not just a neighborhood party. I write a certified letter. Remove all unauthorized structures in 30 days, or we'll talk lawyers. Linda loses it, calls another board meeting, tries to pass a special assessment, $800 per household for a legal defense fund. The neighbors rebel. You want us to pay to fight the guy who owns the land? Even Bob, the treasurer, is done. The neighborhood fractures. Linda won't back down. Calls the cops again. This time she claims I'm surveying their property and threatening water shutoff. Deputy Johnson, who's had about enough, says, "Ma'am, this is a civil matter, not a crime." Not when it's the property owner. The county inspector confirms everything's illegal. Fines, criminal charges, the works. Meanwhile, Linda's still trying to spin the story. She destroys evidence, burns documents, smashes hard drives, threatens my dog, sends me a text, "Accidents happen to animals." That's the line you don't cross. Emma goes to stay with Mrs. Rodriguez. Harper and I set up cameras ready for anything. Sure enough, Linda and Bob sneak in to dismantle the pump house. I catch them red-handed. "Ma'am, you're destroying property on my land," I say, voice low and cold. She's desperate, raving. Bob's begging her to stop. Deputy Johnson arrives, photographs everything, warns her about obstruction. The neighbors witness it all. Linda's empire crumbles overnight. No water, no pools, brown grass everywhere. At the next HOA meeting, the neighbors demand her resignation. The board votes her out. Within days, she's arrested: fraud, theft, false reports, obstruction. Turns out she was selling stolen water to landscaping companies for years, pocketing even more cash. Karma shows up with a badge, and Linda gets sentenced: jail, restitution, community service, at a public park picking up trash in a neon vest. Her house goes up for sale, the money's gone, and the HOA is dissolved. We turn the land into what it should have always been: a place for family, for teaching kids about respect and boundaries, for fishing on the weekends. We let some neighbors fish for a small fee, nothing like Linda's rates. Now we've got a sign that says Sapphire Lake Miller Family Ranch. Community fishing with permission. Respect this privilege. You know, in the end, it wasn't the law or the paperwork that set things right. It was a whole bunch of neighbors waking up to the truth, a family's stubbornness, and a border collie who always knew where home was. Uncle Frank's legacy is safe. The real lesson: you can fake confidence, you can stack paperwork, but you can't fake ownership. So here's my question. If you came home to find a summer camp running in your backyard, would you stay calm like I did, or would you lose your mind? Tell me in the comments. Share your story about justice, about what's right, or where you drew the line. Because sometimes the only way to get your land back is to let the whole world see what really went down.